Okay, so we have talked a little bit about Glitch in the Matrix stories, and you all have asked to hear my personal story. And I thought of not just one, but two. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me explain. Well, hello, my spooky friends. Yeah, let's start with this because when I say glitch in the Matrix, a lot of people have no idea what I'm talking about. So I am reading from the internet. I Googled it. A glitch in the matrix, in a broad sense, means an unusual occurrence that cannot be logically explained. Now, this is not like a ghost thing, though. But the origin of the term comes from the 1999 movie The Matrix, where if you've ever seen that movie, you know in the beginning Neo is like going through life, but then there's like glitches, like things that aren't right, people that aren't right, like transferring places that you shouldn't be. Just a lot of weirdness, which led a lot of people to think that we live in a simulation. Now, I'm not here to debate that fact, but what I am going to say is this has been going on for hundreds of years, okay, in recorded history. A lots of weirdness. Some people think it's time travel. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you my classic story because it does involve what I can only assume is teleportation. Okay, let me give you a background. I and my daughter, this has been years ago, she was in middle school at the time, junior high. Yeah, junior high. We had got free tickets to a ghost tour. And I had never been, and I thought, oh, how cool. I don't go to find ghosts, honestly. I've never almost never had a ghostly experience on a ghost tour, but I like to hear history. I am a huge history buff. So we were going, it was, I don't know, about an hour away from where I was working at the time. So I had to leave work early to get there. Now, because it wasn't a place in this city that I had never been, I had her Google it and she put the right thing in. And it started out with taking us really far east, like away from the city. And I thought, this must be a shortcut because I don't know. What do I know? And we got so lost, turned around. The GPS just lost its mind that day. That should have been my first sign that things weren't going to be exactly normal. But anyway, we go on the ghost tour. It was from 6 to 8 o'clock in a downtown historical area of this city. So we just barely get there on time. And I broke into the group of a guy that I knew was going to be a little bit more long winded. And they warned that if you go in his group, it may be a little after 8 before you get out because he just knows so much. And it was a very interesting tour. Let me just say, there was nothing spooky about this tour. I had absolutely zero thoughts or feelings, but it was a very interesting history lesson. So, true to form, we get out of the ghost tour about, I don't know, 10, 12 minutes past 8 and walked to my car. Now, because of the original problem with the GPS taking us out of the way, it really ran my gas tank down. And so, in order to get there on time, I didn't have time to stop for gas, nor did we have time to eat supper. But I knew as soon as the tour was over, there were things close by and I could, just stop. My best guesstimation to get back to the place where my work was gonna be about an hour. It's about an hour's drive from where I worked at the time to the city. Getting in the car, it's about 8:15, you're pulling out, and I had to GPS a little bit just to navigate out of the city to where I knew where I was. And my daughter was whiny. She's hungry. And I'm looking at my gas, which is really sad. I'm like, I'm going to have to stop really soon. And I kept assuring her, look, we're not that far. We're just going to go up over a mountain and down on the bottom of the mountain. As we're going through, we're going to come upon a suburb of the city. And I know this road so very well. I've been on it hundreds of times, and I know that there are eating places and gas stations there. So we're in the car, She's sitting in the front seat with me and we're talking. But so we get over the mountain and I start looking. Okay, I know it's going to be coming up close. And I keep saying, okay, I'm not worried about the gas because, like, within 2 or 3 miles, we're going to come to a very large suburb. And there is really nothing on the road. So we are driving and driving, and it is very dark. We don't really start passing any cars, one lone car every once in a while. And she's like, "Where is it? I am so hungry." And I am also myself, I'm not wanting to scare her, but I am getting quite concerned that I am going to run out of gas in the middle of nowhere. But it shouldn't have been the middle of nowhere because it was literally one city, short stretch of road, big suburb. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, it should be here, but don't worry. At any moment, we're going to come on it. And we just kept driving and driving. Now, again, we left the downtown area at about 8:12, 8:15, and it was really weird, honestly, the fact that I knew what time it was. I just happened to look. And so I'm guesstimating that it probably took another, I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes just to get out of downtown and up over the mountain to where I was expecting to find something. Well, at this point, I stopped looking at the clock, but it would have been normally about 8:30. So time passes, and we're going down this road, and it is so dark. There are rarely lights. Everything is closed. There might be like a little mom and pop store somewhere that would have been closed for hours with maybe just their outside lights on. And like I said, every once in a while, a car would come the opposite direction. And we're just driving and driving and driving. And I am now really worried about my gas hand. And we're both just looking for any kind of place to stop and eat, stop and get gas. At this point, I don't even care. I just need an open place. And the weird part is we never find one. Occasionally, I would see a store, a little bit off the road, and I would think, well, that looks like a gas station, and maybe they just don't have really bright lights. Maybe they're open. So there were at least 2 or 3 times that I would make a U-turn and cross and go back. Sachi. I would cross and go back, to find the little store, only to find that it was closed. As I am internally beginning to panic, I come upon a sign that lists a local attraction. Okay, but this attraction is about 40 minutes away. And it is already, to get to this place, you have to go through the big suburb. And here's the thing, there is only one road that goes through there. So it's not like I could have just taken the wrong route. It literally is the only route. So now that we have come on this road that leads to this big attraction, I am panicked because I know this road so well. I grew up there when I was a kid, used to travel that road with my parents many, many times. And I know that we are already on the other side of the suburb. But that's not the worst part. The worst part was I knew that it was going to be at least another 20 or so minutes before I would be able to come upon what I would hope would be an open gas station, getting close to another small town. And so now I'm really, really worried about running out of gas. Of course, we're both starving, and I was just shocked. And I'm like, how could we have missed this city? It's huge. And she wasn't really familiar with that area at the time. And she's like, "Are you sure we didn't just pass it?" I'm like, "Look, you cannot miss it. There's lots of stoplights. There's there's a big Walmart there. There's, lots of restaurants. There's grocery stores and all kind of stores. Like, it is a big place. Did you see any place?" And she's like, "No, I haven't seen anything but this road, this dark." And she makes fun of me because I always call it the dark, lonely road. But that's what it is. But the thing of it is that is the way the road used to be. When I was a kid, even when I was, maybe into my teens, there was nothing between this very small town that I used to live in and the big city. It was one stretch of one highway going one direction. And literally, you would see a mom and pop gas station, a, country cooking mom and pop restaurant. There might have been two on the whole, hour's drive to there. And I mean, this is back in the day. But I remember as a kid being in the back seat of my parents' car and this being a very long drive, especially when we would come back from the city at night. I would fall asleep in the back seat because there was nothing to see, nothing of interest. It was just literally a dark, lonely road. Now, in all the years that have ensued, there's again this big suburb that popped up. I hope this is making sense. I'm thinking it's got to be time for even small town, gas stations to close up. Now, I look at the clock on my car and I know that I have been driving in circles, going back, looking for something, looking for the, whatever, for quite some time. My car says that it is only like 8:25. Now, by my estimation, we would have gotten on the other side of the mountain by about 8:25, 8:30 before any of this started. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I have not only like teleported to way down the road, like probably a good 20 miles down the road, but of all of my fooling around of going back and looking for open places, how have I also gone back in time? It was mind blowing to me. And I'm like, this is insane. So I just start praying. Like I'm praying, Jesus, please let me get to the gas station because I know there is nothing until I get to another small town. So finally, I do. But now I'm conscious of the clock because I know I should be way, way further. It should have been after 9 o'clock by this time. But no. So as I'm driving, it just doesn't seem like the clock is moving. It is going ahead suddenly, but very, very slowly. And again, not much traffic on this road. When I finally get to the gas station, it is now about 8:40. And it's almost like I'm coming closer to the real time. So, I mean, I'm relieved. I stop, I put gas in the car, and then I think we went through a drive through somewhere for supper. By the time I got home, though, my time had actually caught up with the actual time. Now, understand my car was like you have to manually set it, or the car that I had then. It's not like it was on the phone where, it could be a glitch. This was actual time. I do not know how we missed the city, the suburb. I don't know why there wasn't any traffic on the road because it has grown up. The area, even though there's not a lot of stuff in between, there are a lot of houses. There's a lot of people, and there's usually a good amount of traffic on the road at any given time. It was honestly like I was back on that road decades ago where there was absolutely nothing. So, fast forward a few months or whatever, and I said, look, next time we go to this city for anything, I'm going to show you where the suburb is. And so you can understand, because she kept thinking, oh, you just missed it. We just missed it. I'm like, you can't. I'm telling you, child, we cannot miss it. So the next time we go back and I show her, I'm like, do you see this? This is the suburb. And she was just amazed. She said, there is no way we could have missed this. I said, exactly. But we did. So I don't know if we went into a portal, and popped out the other side. I don't know. I have no explanation. I just call it the vortex. Like we went into the vortex for some reason. I mean, where we picked it up, I don't know. But I know that, some people are like, when I put my story on Facebook, they said, "Oh, you were abducted." I'm like, "No, because I don't have any missing time. What I have is extra time. I have time that shouldn't be there." Like, time did not move or moved so slow that it was impossible. Anyway, that is one of my glitch stories. This one comes from Peggy. She says, "When I was 17 years old, I was driving home in my big old boat of a car. This was in the mid 70s. I was stopped at a red light, and when it turned green, I took off. There was an old lady on the right who should have stopped because that side was red. She never even looked and ran her red light. The front of my car went through the back half of her car, and I saw far into her car. I could see the Bible she carried laying on the back seat. I was in shock because there was no wreck. Both cars should have been totaled, and I do believe she would have died." Wow. You saw what happened, but then when you got through it, you realized it didn't happen. Almost like a vision, kind of like a Final Destination thing, but not. It was like, and this is something that actually I've heard from many people who have glitches in the Matrix. It's like you see something happen, but then it's like you wake up and it actually didn't happen. It's like, I don't know. I will tell you my second story. I'm going to make this one real quick, but I had a very similar circumstance, Peggy, where I was going on a road. It was a divided highway in a crazy busy city. We were driving after church to a restaurant. I was in my car, and my best friend was in the car behind me. Now there was so much traffic. We had like 4 lanes on this side and 4 lanes on that side, and just a concrete median between us. And as I'm driving, this huge pickup truck, with the big wheels, those kind, it jumped the median. I don't know what he was doing, but he jumped the median and he got in my lane and was headed straight for me. It was going to be a head-on collision. And I quickly looked around. Well, I couldn't go left because the median was there, and I couldn't go right because there was just stacks and stacks of cars. And all I did, I just closed my eyes and I gripped the steering wheel and I just said, "Jesus," because I literally thought I was going to die. And I was bracing for the impact that never happened. And when I looked up, I saw the car behind me, and it was heading straight for my best friend, who was in the exact same predicament as me. And I closed my eyes again and started praying because I knew she was going to die. Still not having any idea how he got past me without hitting, any more vehicles. When I looked up again, she was behind me driving as normal. When we get to the restaurant, we were both shaken and talking about it. And she said, "I thought you were going to die." I said, "I did too." And I said, "I don't know how he got past me, but then I thought you were going to die." And she said, "I thought the same thing." I said, "Well, how did he get past you? Like, how did he maneuver?" She said, "I don't know." She said, "I saw the whole thing and I don't know." She said, "I saw him coming toward you, but it's almost like he passed through you because he never hit." She said, "But he stayed in our lane. He never got out of our lane, but yet he passed through both of us." Now that was freaky. And definitely someone was watching over both of us. All right, I hope you enjoyed that story. I hope you have much less of a freakier holiday. Scully says, "Hi, have a wonderful Thanksgiving." I don't know if I'll do another video. I'm going to try before the holiday. It's crazy this week. And stay safe. Eat a lot of turkey. Whatever you do, stay spooky. Bye-bye.